It's almost Christmas, and many of you are probably planning on praying over the next few days, which is why I want to take this opportunity to warn you that if you do plan to pray and you happen to be in Britain, that could land you in jail.
Before I ask you any questions about what's going on today, I have to caution you, which is just your rights, which is you do not have to say anything. It may harm your defence if you do not mention one question, something which you later on in court, anything you do say may be given evidence. What are you here for today?
Physically, I'm just standing here.
Okay. Why here of all places? I know you don't live nearby.
This is an abortion centre.
Okay. That's why you're stood. Is you standing here part of the protest?
No. I'm not protesting.
Are you praying?
I might be praying in my head.
So I'll ask you once more, will you voluntarily come with us now to the police station for me to ask you some questions about today and other days where there are allegations that you've broken public spaces protection order?
If I've got a choice, then no.
Okay, well then you're under arrest on suspicion of failing to comply with the public spaces protection order, which is under the Antisocial Behaviour Crime and Policing Act 2014. Now, of course, you do not have to say anything. It may harm your defence if you do not mention one question, something which you later on in court, anything you do say may be given evidence.
Now, I would like to think that this sort of evil police action, cartoonishly evil police action, is only taking place in the United Kingdom, but it's happening here too. The FBI regularly and increasingly targets pro-lifers who pray outside of abortion mills, and then they arrest them on trumped-up charges that the pro-lifers are obstructing or intimidating people who are seeking to kill their children. The UK might be a little bit ahead of the curve here, but not by much. People are being arrested for praying silently in their heads. And I love my country. And I love my ancestral country, Great Britain. And I love my whole civilization. And I have always been raised to believe that we are the good guys. But in recent decades, we've sanctioned the killing of almost 1 million babies a year. In recent years, we've essentially abolished marriage. We've started grooming and castrating little kids and pumping them full of hormones and mutilating their bodies. And now we're arresting Christians for praying silently in their heads. So I don't want to be a downer or anything, but I've got to ask a very British question. Are we the baddies? Are we the baddies? Are we the baddies? Speaking of our civilization projecting our power abroad, there's a new academic report that the United States Marines have received demanding that they stop calling their drill instructors sir and ma'am. So our Marines, our wonderful, brave, valiant Marines who sacrifice a lot to defend our country and our way of life, they sign up and they end up working for these woke lunatics who tell them that they can't call their drill instructors sir or ma'am because they might misgender the drill instructor. This, according to a 739-page report from the University of Pittsburgh. This was catalyzed by a new congressional mandate, so it's our stupid politicians forcing this nonsense on the Marines. It's featured PhD biologists Bradley C. Nindel and Mita Lovalecker and 22 academics telling Marines that they need to, quote, replace gendered identifiers, for example, sir or ma'am, in the primary salutation or response to drill instructors with gender-neutral language, such as drill instructor or senior drill instructor, senior, DI, or SDI. Employing gender-neutral identifiers eliminates the possibility of misgendering drill instructors, which can unintentionally offend or cause discord. We're never going to win another war again, are we? We had a good run. The U.S. did a pretty good job winning wars for most of our history. Our men and women in uniform are just as tough as nails as they always have been. But if the people leading our military they're afraid of misgendering, we're not going to win anymore. That's maybe we've still got a little bit of gusto left in us, but as long as these military leaders remain in place, we are totally screwed, which is not great because the United States, whether we want to admit it or not, administers a global empire. We don't make laws like the bill up on Capitol Hill. We're not just a little nation surrounded by oceans. We have a global empire. We have states overseas. We've got one state, Hawaii, just in the middle of the Pacific. We have basically total control over the European continent because we are the military for Europe. That's what NATO does. We run the United Nations, so we have a role as the world superpower. And we are currently fighting an imperial war with Russia over the territory of Ukraine and whether Ukraine will join NATO or join the European Union or become part of Russia or maintain a kind of quasi-independence that allows it to be a buffer state to play great powers off of one another. You saw this when our vassal, Vladimir Zelensky, came over to the U.S. and lobbied for more money so that we will help fund that war against Russia. And the Democrats were happy to have him. They flew him out here to use him and the emotion behind the war in Ukraine to convince Republicans to vote for this stupid omnibus spending package, the $1.7 trillion spending package, some of which will go toward funding this war in Ukraine. And one of the images that came out of this whole episode was, it's a doctored image. It's not an authentic image, but it's an image of Nancy Pelosi and other congressmen holding up an American flag, but then the bottom of the American flag is no longer red and white. It's yellow and blue. It's the Ukrainian flag. And the stars, it's no longer all the stars. It's got these little Ukrainian symbols there too. So it's not a real image, but it does refer to a real sense, I think. All these big libs changing their profile pictures and their names on social media to include the Ukrainian flag, which is crazy. My family is Italian. I love Italy. I'm not going to put an Italian flag in my handle because I'm an American. I'm not an Italian. That's disloyal to do that. I've got British ancestry, as I mentioned in the open. I'm not going to put the Union Jack in my hand because but all these libs, they're putting the Ukrainian flag. And then I was looking at that. I said, wow, this is the new imperial standard. The red, white, and blue with the Ukraine thing at the bottom. And I thought, well, if we're going to have an imperial flag, I guess America and Ukraine as a mashup is better than the current imperial standard, which is just the pride flag. That is effectively the flag of the American empire. It's the flag we raise over our conquered territories overseas. It's the flag that the liberal imperialists all use. They all prefer the rainbow flag to the red, white, and blue. It's a flag that denotes not just a particular place with a particular people, as the American flag does, as all other national flags do, but it denotes universal values. So it really does denote a global empire of liberalism. So you have all of these libs who use these kind of flags. They never talk about the nation and the people and the particular interests of the United States. It's always this abstract stuff. It's always spreading democracy, spreading human rights, spreading gay rights, spreading this right and that right, and all these abstract concepts all over the world. That is a claim of domination. That is a claim of imperialism, saying that individual nations have no right to rule themselves. People who have their own traditions have no right to maintain those traditions. And this is the most important part as far as I'm concerned. Even we conservatives here in America have no right to our own traditions. Christians here in America, here in Britain, here all over the West, have no right to our own traditions. We don't get to go to church. They're going to shut down the churches during COVID. They're going to leave the pot stores open. They're going to leave the casinos open, but they're going to shut down the churches. And then even after they reopen the churches after COVID, they're not going to let you pray silently outside of an abortion clinic. That's the problem for me. We got a lot more show coming up. It's Fake Headline Friday, so we have got you. I need your help. Before you all go to the airport and miss your flights because the snowstorm is canceling every flight in the country, before you head down, hunker down, and eat some nice turkey or 7 fishes if you're Italian, I need you to help me figure out which is the fake headline for Fake Headline Friday. We've also got more voice mailbag. We've also got more mailbag. The rest of the show continues now. You don't want to miss it if you're not a member. Click the link in the description and join us.